This is Mastering Your Wealth with David Gagnon, the podcast.
So it turns out many Americans aren't confident they're going to be able to retire. In fact, 21% in a recent poll by Natixis said it would take a, quote, miracle. So do you have clients that come in and they say this? And bottom line, what's their mood like after they work with you? Maybe they sit down, do this portfolio analysis, and they put this plan in action.
Yeah, I've seen this many times. I mean, folks will reach out to us and they feel very overwhelmed with all the information out there. And with the internet, people feel empowered that they can do planning on their own. But when you see the vast amounts of information that you have to kind of sift through and identify really what's pertinent to you, and you see a lot of contradicting information about planning advice, it's overwhelming. And so we can filter through all that because we've been doing this for decades, and we can identify really what is the focus we should put into this particular client's planning review and identify what's working and what's not. And so once we sit down, we gather all the Social Security estimate information, their pension options, their 401k savings, we look at their debts, and we come up with a fine-tuned budget spending objective that they have to meet all their lifestyle bucket list items. You know, it's not just the basic necessities you have to come up with a budget for, but things that you want to plan for in the fun side of things of retirement, whether it's travel, doing things with the family. Maybe you have to budget out things to purchase cars or home improvements. So we want to get it as detailed as possible. And then what we'll do is run the analysis with your present path forward. And now that will show us in the details of that analysis what's working, what problems might lie ahead, and what opportunities we can implement today to optimize your resources and take less risk and have better predictability of the outcome. So planning matters. It's the most important time investment I think people need to put their focus on. And once you have your plan and the details of your analysis identified, then that will identify how you should invest your money to align with your personal goals and objectives, and how to invest to reduce your taxes in the future, not defer them. And there's a lot of different moving parts to a plan. And I think once people go through that exercise with us, they feel confident, they feel empowered to spend their money, and we can validate what their spending limits could be. And it's just an easier path forward when you're in retirement. You're not playing any guessing game anymore.
Yeah, and that's the thing, guys. Let's taking the guessing game out of it. We don't have time to guess in retirement, folks. We need exact numbers. We need to know we have a foundational plan, a solid foundational plan. We need to make sure that, our anxiety and all that noise is quieted. And, David, that's where you come in. Again, with nearly 40 years of experience, folks, this is somebody that knows the ins and outs of all the changes that's come our way. David, you've been around for all the different things, whether it's the market's up, the market's down, high inflation, new presidencies, politic changes coming into our way, maybe leaking down to our own wallet. So you've been around for all of these different changes. So this is somebody, again, if you're looking for somebody to work with your financial future, that retirement plan, give David a call today. And here's the deal. David, you are local. Of course, we are right here on WICC 600. You're right here in Madison by the shoreline. But if you're out a little further, maybe in New York City or what have you, no worries there, guys. We can always set up a Zoom meeting for you. Either way, give us a call today. Let's get you on the schedule. Let's start you on your own path to that retirement that you've always dreamed of. Give a call for that portfolio analysis. 203-872-0009. That's 203-872-0009. That website, of course, masteringyourwealthradio.com. 9 times out of 10, David, I am a rule follower, right? I always have been. That's just the kind of person I am. But turns out that when it comes to retirement in 2025, you should ignore or even break these 7 rules. I want to list them for you. The 4% rule on withdrawals. They're saying forget that. Number 2, spend as little as possible. Number 3, delay Social Security until you're 70. Number 4, you need $1 million to retire. Number 5, you must pay off your mortgage. Number 6, you should avoid annuities. Number 7, you must retire at 65. So here's a list of 7 things here, again, that they're saying that you need to ignore or just simply break these rules. David, what do you think?
Well, I'll tell you, I like the list, and we'll address it in a second, but I'll tell you, retirement's personal. It's not cookie cutter. I don't like people following cookie cutter advice. I had a couple that earlier this year, they came in and they wanted to retire, and they're about 64, and they're going to be 65. Well, they are 65 now. And they were going to take their Social Security. And when I did their Social Security claiming analysis, and they're both expecting a long life expectancy in retirement, had they claimed it at age 64 and, in fact, lived to their life expectancy, they would have left about $480,000 of missed Social Security benefits throughout their retirement on the table. And this would have been a wealth transfer that would have occurred in their blind spot. And when I did their analysis, it indicated that they should have, both of them, delayed to 70. Now, their first question that came to mind was, well, how do we create a paycheck for our retirement? And they had about $800,000 in assets, and they brought up the 4% rule, and we ran the model for them into the future with different inflation factors and their spending needs. Their money was going to run out. Mm-hmm. And so what we did was we designed a personalized strategic income distribution plan. We evaluated their investments. We did their forecast, and we stress tested it for different levels of inflation and longevity. And they wanted to pay off their mortgage as well. Now, they had all their money in pre-tax retirement accounts. And the long and short of it was, when we finished their plan, we showed them how to delay to age 70. We showed them how to design an income distribution plan and put their investments in alternative investments, because they were just in a bucket of mutual funds. It's hard to create some of the value and the benefits of retirement income planning with mutual funds. There's a lot of risk associated with that. And so when we structured everything out after we did a complete analysis of all these moving parts, especially close Social Security optimization, and then align their investments with a well-designed income plan, which incorporated some guaranteed annuities, which allowed them to have a higher distribution on their money, and also doubling of that annual guaranteed income for either spouse, if they needed out-of-pocket health care. So we had a backup plan for health care. We had a strategically invested plan for creating income, but also their investments were invested for long-term objectives to offset inflation and so on. And we were able to restructure things a little bit more efficiently for tax planning. So they felt confident once we showed them in their numbers and their plan, and that's the key. If you know your numbers and you have a plan, your decisions are going to be very easy when we're able to coach you on how to optimize all your resources and mitigate all kinds of risk, especially market risk and longevity risk. And now they spend their money with confidence. We budgeted in a number of things for new cars, vacations. And now, since they've implemented the plan, they don't worry about their money because we've taken the guesswork out of the planning process. And that's the thing. People need confidence to spend and live their lifestyle without following these cookie-cutter pieces of advice, which are so flawed in so many different ways. Yet I see a lot of people that do come through our office. They're trying to rely on this cookie-cutter advice. And when we do their analysis and we look into the future with how that's going to play out, most times it's not working. And so you don't want to get halfway through retirement and find this out, because it's harder to fix this problem when you're too deep in the hole with these financial mistakes.
Right, and that's what we're trying to avoid, is we don't want you to get in that hole where we can't pull you back out and you're going to make all these financial mistakes. And, you know, David, for folks listening going, oh my gosh, well, I identify with that story, that example. How do I get back on track? What do you say?
Well, how do you get back on track? Well, it's never too late to start making better financial decisions that give you a better foothold and a better foundation of making your retirement work out for you, because you're going to have to look for financial solutions and strategies that you're probably not using, and because it's in your blind spot. And this is the thing. There's so much we've done in decades of planning for retirement and investing and managing money and looking at all the other things that could derail a retirement. There's going to be questions that we're going to ask that a lot of people never even thought about. I mean, especially when you are a married couple and a spouse dies, there's a change in income sources, and one of them is going to be Social Security. The survivor is only going to get one Social Security. It will be the higher of the two. And there might be pensions in the mix where there's going to be a loss of some survivor benefits, possibly, and out-of-pocket health care. That is derailing more retirements than you can imagine because of the high price of health care and the fact that people are living so much longer in these facilities or in the need of out-of-pocket health care. And so there's going to be things that we're going to try to put backup strategies to in your planning so you don't run the typical risk that most people follow or are exposed to because they haven't planned for it. And when you're proactive with your financial decisions, being proactive puts safeguards and airbags throughout the retirement years, especially in how you're investing your money and how you're cash flowing your money. And so it's what you don't know that can hurt you more than what you do know. And this is what we want people to understand. We help you find those things and see those things that could derail your retirement. And the sooner you see this and address it, the better the outcome is going to be for the rest of your retirement for your lifetime. And so take the guesswork out of planning because it's very complicated. And yet people work all their lives, they save what they can, and then they hope for the best the day they retire. Mm-hmm. And you just don't want to be in that position because too many people are finding themselves in a retirement that they're not happy about because they're worried about their money all the time. And that's why I'd love to sit down with anybody that is challenged with their planning objectives and confidence in their retirement. Give us a call, especially if you're pretty close to retirement. There are things that you want to see before you actually make that commitment and leave your employment because that is not the time to find out later that it's not working out for you.
Sooner is always better, guys. This is a $1,000 value, by the way. Before our radio listeners, we're going to do no cost, no obligation for this portfolio analysis. Call today, get on the calendar, and here's the deal. You'll talk to Alana in the office. She'll get some information from you, set up a time for you to come in and sit down with David. 203-872-0009. That's 203-872-0009. Of course, that website, masteringyourwealthradio.com. You know, we talk so much about having a plan in place, understanding your plan so that you know that whatever comes your way, you're going to be all right in retirement, right? Because we all know that the biggest fear is running out of money. And oddly enough, a friend of mine sent me an Instagram post that talked about various fears or even phobias. And the fear of running out of money is called plutophobia. Okay, so I went down a rabbit hole on this like I do, and I read that all of this can manifest during retirement when it comes to the fear of spending your life savings. So, David, that makes sense, right? I'm afraid of running out of money. I have my life savings. How do I avoid that? What's one way to help overcome that?
You know what the biggest fear is that most people have?
What's that?
Is running out of money.
Well, that's what I just said.
Yeah, it's not dying. You would think dying is the first thing.
Yeah, you would think. Yes.
Yeah. And it's a real statistic. So, you know, the fear is real because people are going into retirement blindly. Mm-hmm. And when you know your numbers, as I said before, and you have a plan, you know what you can spend, and there's no surprises. And we know what you need to invest and what type of income plan you have to allocate your money into so you can align your spending objectives long term and have your investments in the right places to create that yield and income. So we just actually worked out a pretty complicated income distribution plan for a few months back. And they were about ready to retire, but they wanted to validate if it was all going to work out. We did their portfolio investment analysis to begin, and we showed them that their investments were totally out of line with income planning. And when we readjusted everything, and then we had a strategic income plan meeting because we wanted to show them, based on their basic necessities and for the rest of their life, their Social Security was about almost ready to cover almost all of that, which was good. But they wanted to have a higher floor of lifetime income so they could have some of their fund money built into their lifetime income guarantees. And so what we did was we incorporated an income annuity, which also had a doubler for out-of-pocket health care. Mm-hmm. And that was a high payout rate because the way they're investing, their yields weren't even as high as the payout rate on a lifetime basis. And what this did for them is show them that they could spend and align their spending with their lifestyle forecast that we received from them, adjusted for inflation at pretty high inflation levels, because that's one variable that if you don't stress test your numbers, then you may not invest appropriately to compensate for higher, costlier spending needs as inflation might go up. And we're able to restructure their income distribution plan differently, and it provides some tax efficiency. And then the other thing was we gave them the right time of when they should turn on the Social Security to optimize that lifetime income. So, that gave them the permission to travel and spoil the grandkids. And here's the thing, guaranteed income removes that fear in retirement of being able to spend. So if you're really looking for confidence in retirement and you want to eliminate the anxiety of your finances, give us a call. Let us quarterback you and help you find what might work better for you throughout your retirement years.
For more details or to sit down with David for your complimentary financial GPS, visit masteringyourwealthradio.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, LLC, BWA, a registered investment advisor and an affiliate of Brookstone Capital Management, LLC. BWA and First Financial Planners are independent of each other. Insurance products and services are not offered through BWA, but are offered and sold through individually licensed and appointed agents.
Information provided is not intended as tax or legal advice and should not be relied on as such. You are encouraged to seek tax or legal advice from an independent professional.
Any comments regarding safe and secure products and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to securities or investment advisory products. Fixed insurance and annuity product guarantees are subject to the claims-paying ability of the issuing company and are not offered by Brookstone.
David Gagnon and First Financial Planners are not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency.
Registered investment advisors and investment advisor representatives act as fiduciaries for all of our investment management clients. We have an obligation to act in the best interests of our clients and to make full disclosure of any conflicts of interest. Please refer to our firm brochure of the ADV 2A Item 4 for additional information.